At the time of worship, coals of fire came down from heaven, and the fire was like a waterfall coming down, and next to it, there was ice coming down like a waterfall, and then there was a big writing, the terrible crystal. And above the terrible crystal writing there is another writing, Ezekiel 1, and below it there is the writing Israel. On a pile of soil on the island, but the island seems to be blackened. Ezekiel 1 verse 1 until 28. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Chebar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. The word of Jehovah came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of Jehovah was there upon him. And I looked, and, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, a great cloud, with a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness round about it, and out of the midst thereof as it were glowing metal, out of the midst of the fire. And out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance, they had the likeness of a man. And every one had 4 faces, and every one of them had 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings thus, their wings were joined one to another, they turned not when they went every one straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they had the face of a man, and they 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, they 4 had also the face of an eagle. And their faces and their wings were separate above, 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward, whither the Spirit was to go, they went, they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, like the appearance of torches, the fire went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth beside the living creatures, for each of the 4 faces thereof. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto a barrel, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel within a wheel. When they went in their 4 directions, they turned not when they went. As for their rims, they were high and dreadful, and they 4 had their rims full of eyes round about. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went, thither was the Spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up beside them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. When those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up beside them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. And over the head of the living creature there was the likeness of a firmament, like the terrible crystal to look upon, stretched forth over their heads above. And under the firmament were their wings straight, the one toward the other, every one had 2 which covered on this side, and every one had 2 which covered on that side, their bodies. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of great waters, like the voice of the Almighty, a noise of tumult like the noise of a host. When they stood, they let down their wings. And there was a voice above the firmament that was over their heads, when they stood, they let down their wings. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was a likeness as the appearance of a man upon it above. And I saw as it were glowing metal, as the appearance of fire within it round about, from the appearance of his loins and upward, and from the appearance of his loins and downward I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and there was brightness round about him. As the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of Jehovah. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake. As we continued to worship, 12 angels appeared above the land of Israel. The angel at the front is Gabriel. As we continued to pray for Israel, the word of prayer that was offered was like lightning, and it stretched over Israel like the line of the 8 directions. Gabriel shouted, "Seraphim!" Then there were 8 seraphim at the ends of the line, as if forming an umbrella around them to protect Israel. Then Gabriel said in the vision, "The words of your prayer are never in vain." Word verse added at time of writing, Daniel 10:12. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. While continuing to pray for Israel, one of the team saw in vision the leader of Russia, VP, and the leader of China, XJ. VP and XJ's positions were across the sea, outside the land of Israel, and they seemed to be laughing and smiling sarcastically. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's position was in the land of Israel. First he stepped forward into Israel, but then it seemed as if he was turning around to leave the island of Israel, and had already taken 3 steps. Then there was the president of another nation, and he just looked at Israel with a smile from his seat, and there was a sign on his desk that said France. He was dressed in a black suit, white shirt, and red tie. After that, the writing of Psalm 121 appeared in a vision in the land of Israel. And there were many people in Israel who wore robes and hats, kippah, and some of their faces seemed to be turned toward God, but some of them were apathetic. Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved, he that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil, he shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore.